Welcome to Avatar Face to Face. My name is Jewel Kinch-Thomas, and it's so good to have you with us today. Avatar Face to Face is your source for arts and culture information and inspiration throughout Westchester and beyond. So we have someone here today that we want to introduce you to, and we want to welcome to the show, Sheila Kirk Baptista.
Thank you.
Sheila, so nice to have you here.
Great to be here, Jewel. Thank you very much.
And we want to talk a little bit about what you're doing in the arts. You're making a lot of strides, I can see from what I've read. But before we do that, I'd like to find out a little bit and let our viewers know a little bit about your background.
Sure, I'd be delighted to share. I don't know that I can start from the very beginning, but I'll give you a little synopsis. I started in the music business, I believe, in 1998 officially as an incorporated entity, Lewis and Kirk Music. And the roots of all this began when I would say at 3 years old. My best memories are of music in my home and music in our church. And of course, the background singers were, my grandfather and my mother and my siblings, and they were all very, very talented musicians and talented singers. So I've kind of grown up around that inspiration. And as I got older, I sought out music that I loved and enjoyed, particularly classical music, jazz, and of course, the music that's indigenous to us, our marvelous R&B sounds. So it started early on, and I continued to seek it out and continued to pursue it as a singer. I started singing, I guess officially, when I was about 6 or 7 years old when I joined my first choir at a very small church in the Carolinas. I grew up in North Carolina my early years, and those years gave me a sense of what we struggle with as a people with respect to our culture, our politics, our heritage. And I observed a lot of different things at that time, and that inspired me to really lock in on who I am and what this music means to us. I had a chance to visit with my great-great-grandparents who lived in South Carolina. They literally had no utilities. They had no electricity, no running water. None of that was available. And so listening to the sounds at night of the crickets, kind of sharing their dialogue, listening to the owls at night, all of that nature talking and just taking it all in made me understand that there's something very, very wonderful about sound. There's something very, very wonderful about communication. There's something very, very marvelous about all of this. And if I can be a part of it in some way, either as a singer, as a musician, in some way, I think it was something I was very drawn to and I felt compelled to do.
Oh, that's such a rich background to lean on and lean into, then to move forward in your career. So you started out as a singer. What was the transition then from singing into Lewis and Kirk?
I believe as time went on, I, of course, went to college. I went to a couple of colleges. I went to Northeastern University in Boston and was very much, enjoying that culture in Boston. It's a very rich culture there. And my degree I was pursuing was criminal justice. However, I found myself over at many other places pursuing music more than I was at the college. And I decided then, I'm going to find a way to blend the two of these items together, this business interest and also the music, and pursue production in some way, shape, or form. And so after graduating college, I connected with a marvelous musician, Beverly Lewis Hunter, and she and I formed a small business collaboration, if you will. And she was the Lewis and I was the Kirk, and people recognized and kind of connected with the name because they thought of Lewis and Clark.
Right.
And so we considered ourselves, pioneers in music as women, venturing into music and kind of, breaking new ground. And of course, we were not the first. We certainly there's so many that preceded us, but we felt, very driven to make this all the more as much as we could. So she was a pianist, and she still is a pianist, and I
Mhm.
was a vocalist, and we would write and we would collaborate, and then we decided, let's, move this thing forward. And simultaneously, I was also working in the law department at GTE Corporation,
Okay.
and one of my colleagues there said, I'd like to introduce you to the directors and producers at the Stanford Center for the Arts and let them hear what you're doing. And they were encouraged by what they heard and brought me on then as a consultant. And I started to write for them on a regular basis. I believe starting in '94, I would
Mhm.
write their Black History productions from soup to nuts. I'd write the music, I'd write the script, and put together the productions. And we had phenomenal times there. And I think I continued to work with them and work for them for about 7 or 8 years. And that was really one of my first significant forays into the production side.
Oh, wonderful. So now, Lewis and Kirk, tell us
Yes.
just a little bit about what Lewis and Kirk represents.
The company is really focused on women in music.
Ah,
There's a bit of a, certainly not a major bias, but a bit of a slant there. I'm the oldest of five, and four of us are women. I have one brother, and he handles, the situation very well. And so, of course, my exposure has been, with women and women's needs and what women oftentimes don't get when the world is able to provide it.
mm,
So I said, let's see what we can do about carving out some special areas, some special avenues for women in music, particularly
okay.
women in jazz. So Beverly and I decided to look at various venues where we could be presented as musicians and where our groups could be presented as musicians, and how we can actually, really have some penetration in an
Mm,
area where there was some, but certainly not enough.
okay.
Hmm.
All right. So it started out primarily with focus on women
Right,
in jazz,
right.
and then developed from there into,
Gospel.
okay.
We moved into gospel. We then moved into a little bit of R&B. We moved into sacred, and we then moved into. We've got a little bit of a calypso ensemble going, with us now. So we've got a few variations on the main theme.
Okay.
Hmm.
What excites you about a particular artist that makes you want to say, okay, they need to be a part of Lewis and Kirk?
Well, a few things. It's more than just one thing.
Hmm.
I think it's certainly their talent, their God-given talent,
Right.
and their personality. Their ability to respect the music and say this is something that's very important, and I like doing it. I like doing it for people. I
Okay.
like bringing something good to people who certainly can appreciate it
Hmm.
in these times and in other times. So I think their spirit also is something that I look at and consider very valuable in making a determination if they would be a good fit for our organization.
Okay. And what type of events does Lewis and Kirk do? Where do you take these artists?
Oh my, we have had the pleasure and the honor of doing so many different kinds of events. We have been presented with Major League Baseball at their significant events. They, of course, have their Baseball World Classic, and then they have several other major events. So we've been in San Diego, Phoenix, Arizona.
Hmm.
We've also covered their special company events. On a local level, we are accessible at the Theodore D. Young Community Center,
Okay.
at the Yonkers River Fest, in Stanford at their outdoor main presentations. We travel. We've been, this past summer, we were in North Carolina. The ensemble AndJam featuring Andre and James Rollaire. I took them on tour this summer in North
Mm.
Carolina, in Greensboro, and in Raleigh, and a small town near Charlotte, North Carolina, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time there. We also are featured every year in Martha's Vineyard,
Okay.
and that has become one of our signature events that I started producing approximately 5 years ago.
Wow, that's excellent. I want to ask you a little bit more about that, but I
Okay.
think we have a clip right now, talking about women and jazz.
Okay.
What is the name of the group that we're going to see right now?
You're going to see Sage. Sage is one of our premier ensembles featuring 6 women on violin, sax, flute, piano, bass, drums, and vocals. And I believe the clip that you're going to present now is of a concert, one of 3 concerts that we were able to present at the Schomburg. And this is, I think, in 2007, featuring Reagan Whiteside on flute, Kirsten Stevens on violin, Tia Fuller, who was with us at that time, on alto, Bernice Brooks on drums, Kim Clark on bass, and Miki Hayama on piano. And we were honored to be a part of the Women's in History celebration.
Fantastic. So let's take a look at Sage.
Okay.
Okay, Sage. Really tremendous group. It was what captured me when I first went on your website. So I look forward to seeing and experiencing them in person sometime in the near future.
Great. We'd love to have you hear more of them. We want the world to hear more of them, too.
Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about Martha's Vineyard. So you represent these different groups. You play in all of these different venues and arenas and across the country. But then you decided that you were going to do a festival. What brought that on?
Let's see. My husband's family were they were visionaries. And in 1958, they purchased a property in Martha's Vineyard in Oaks Bluff. And we would visit the island regularly throughout the years. And I'm guessing, I think in 92 or maybe 90, I had the pleasure of hearing Jesse Norman perform at a very lovely chapel in Oak Bluffs, Union Chapel. And acoustically, I was just so moved and just so overwhelmed by the profound beauty of her voice. Of course, she's marvelous, and the acoustics in the venue. And I'd been going there to worship on Sundays, and was inspired at that moment to see what I could do to create a concert series there. And from that point on, focused on that creating such an event.
Okay, so we can look forward to hearing more about the Martha's Vineyard Jazz and Blues Festival coming up this year, 2013.
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. But you brought some musicians with you today. and we want to get a feel for this music. So
Okay.
tell us who we're going to see.
You're going to see Andrea and James Relaire and the AndJam band. And with them today on bass is Ron Monroe. They are a phenomenal husband and wife duo that not only, of course, sing and create music, but they're writers, they're composers, they're arrangers, not only for in the genre of jazz, but many, many other areas too. They write marvelous children's music, wonderful Americana music. They are just absolutely so well versed and so well rounded in so many different styles that to see them, you say, "Oh my goodness!" And then to really see them and feel them, you're overwhelmed.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy and jam.
I feel you're distant, even when you are near. There are times I don't know who you are. You say you love me, you say you care, but it's late and I don't know where you are. And tonight I wonder if you're coming home. Baby, love me or leave me alone. I remember your promise, love never untrue. Said you'd be forever by my side. But now it's morning, you arrive with the sun, no explanation, and you don't seem to care. I can't face another night by the phone. Baby, love me or leave me alone with nothing but time on my hands, pretending it's no problem to start over I can't face another night by the phone. Baby, love me or leave me. I said, love me, baby. Love me or leave me alone. Leave me alone.
So we just heard AndJam, and they were phenomenal. What marvelous musicians they are. So anytime you hear that name, I think that you would be worthy of picking up the phone and ordering tickets to wherever they're going to be.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So now, I know that you have a very special event coming up.
Yes, yes. Well, all of our events are
Well,
special.
yes,
and-
they are,
and
but
yes,
this one I
they're
think
all
is
very
extra special.
Yes.
So tell us what's going to be happening very soon.
Okay, yeah, you're right. This one is extra special. We were fortunate enough to have been able to actually appear with then Senator Obama in 2007 at the Apollo when he launched his campaign, and Kirsten Stevens, our violinist, was actually the featured performer. Following that, after President Obama was elected, we were then selected to go and appear at one of the inaugural balls in 2008. We've been since asked to return this year and perform once more at the inaugural ball on January 20th, sponsored by the African American churches and underwritten by the marvelous Balm and Gilead, headed by Miss Pernessa Seal. So we will be performing at that event and serve as the house band. We'll be performing with Mr. Hugh Masekela.
Oh, yes.
And many, many others. And it's very exciting, very rewarding. And, we're just primed for the event.
Oh, that is tremendous. I wish I could go with you and be a part of that.
Well, we can work on that too. Figure something out.
Oh, that would be great.
Yes.
So if someone was interested in having one of your bands at an event that they are putting on, or they're at a hall or whatever the situation might be, or they want to attend an event where one of your groups is participating, how would they find out?
Well, we have a website, so you can certainly go to our website, which is lewisandkirkmusic.com, and you can get a preview of the calendar. We're updating it all the time, so things are changing, and we're actually revamping the entire website so that more of the information is accurate and up to date. But they can certainly give a call to me directly at 914-837-1995, and I'll be glad to post them on anything and all things having to do with Lewis and Kirk music.
Excellent. Why don't you repeat that number one more time for our viewers?
Sure. It's 914-837-1995.
Okay, terrific. Now, one last question before we go, and I know that we have some more music that we're going to be able to leave our viewers with, but in terms of your vision for the future for Lewis and Kirk, what are you seeing that's in the cards for you in 2013?
Oh my, 2013 I believe will be the gateway to the international experiences that we're looking forward to. We have done some work on an international level, but I'm really looking forward to expanding that so that we're able to travel more significantly and reach younger women and expose them to the music that we're creating. I want them to certainly understand that there is a tremendous career in this, but there's also some work that's required, and perhaps share with them how it's done and what they can gain at the end of their wonderful, experience.
Oh, that is fantastic. We certainly appreciate the work that you're doing in the arts and cultural arena, and we appreciate the work that you're doing for our young women to put them on platforms where they can express their creativity and their talent. So we thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Okay. So we thank you for being with us today, and we want to remind you that at Avitar we say that the dream is in the mind of the believer and in the hands of the doer, and you are not given that dream unless you're given the power to make it happen. So we want you to take that with you into 2013, and we want to make sure that you are thinking of a year that is spectacular and that you'll be able to do all that you are destined to do. So thank you so much for joining us today, and listen as we take the show out with AndJam from Lewis and Kirk Expeditions. Have a wonderful year.
One day I came home from work in the city. My wife said, I want to have a child. I said, we got one. She said yes, but we're not done. So I did my husbandly duty with a smile. In a few days we went down to the drugstore to purchase one of those cute little tests. The little strip turned pink. I had to get a drink, and from there you might know the rest. But it was 1, 2, 3, first trimester, 4, 5, 6 months, sonogram tester, 7, 8, 9 months. Now the time was near, so I called the doctor. We agreed on Monday. My wife said, don't you think that's for me to say? 7 a.m. Monday morning in the maternity ward. I had my guitar and camera too. A tape recorder to record any song ideas we might think of while we're waiting for my son to arrive. Then outside there raged a torrid lightning storm while the sun shone brightly on the ground. I thought, Thunder Boy's on the way. He's making the day crazy. What a powerful child I'm going to have. Then my wife say, time to push down. I taste the Chinese food from last night. The doctor say, one big push down. And my son was here. He's healthy and strong, and with the face of an angel. The nurses love him. My little boy wonder. He looked like his daddy. Don't hit your sister. Don't draw on the wall. No. Don't terrorize the cat. No, don't throw that. Now Thunder Boy is 11, and he's a gift from heaven.